Is it the end of the year already? Hey moviegoers, this is the Movie Critic and welcome to another video. I hope you guys have been doing well, as it is definitely the end of the year. As I'm recording this, it is December 30th, almost going to be the 31st in a couple of minutes. I am recording this so late, and the reason why I'm recording this so late is because this video will talk about my top 10 best movies of 2022. Now, I know that in terms of reviews, I haven't really made a lot of movie reviews this year, and that is because of college and wanting to take a break for myself in terms of like fear to burnout and whatnot. So that's basically why I haven't been making as many videos as I wanted to. I wanted to do a video before this year closed out because I care about you all and I want to at least talk about the movies that I've seen throughout the year and what I deem as my favorites and what I leave as honorable mention, and basically just what I believe sums up this year as a whole in terms of cinema. Although I haven't seen some movies that a lot of people have talked about throughout the year, but I have seen at least 20 movies. So I'm going to talk about the movies that I liked throughout the year. And yeah, let's get into it. If you like this video, make sure to smack that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on the side to get information on videos in the near future of 2023. Now that I got that out of the way, let's get into my top 10 favorite movies of 2022. And action. Before I get into my top 10 best movies of 2022, I just want to name two honorable mentions that I have for this year. The first one being Sonic the Hedgehog 2. This was an amazing video game movie adaptation, and it was really great seeing the characters Tail and Knuckles on screen, and everything else just, it felt much more like a video game movie than the first movie, where it felt just like an average 3D character coming out of their home setting and meeting a human and going on a road trip. This movie felt like a Sonic come to life movie where Sonic was interacting with characters from his universe and not just the humans. And while there were some plot points that I felt could have been erased or not needed or just shortened upon, everything else was really great, and I just really enjoyed it. The second movie is going to be Lightyear, Pixar's newest film, and I really did enjoy this film. A lot of people really did not like this movie, and it's very understandable why, but I just really feel that as a sci-fi adaptation of the toy Buzz Lightyear, it really did shine in most of the categories that Pixar tried to check off. While I feel that the whole Andy plot point that they had at the beginning of the film was kind of shoehorned in, everything else was handled very well. And if they just had said that this was a retelling of Buzz Lightyear, the toy, and not that this was the movie that Andy saw to buy the toy, it would have been a much better experience. Going into number 10 for me will be Blue's Big City Adventure. And this is complete nostalgia bait and complete bias for me, as I am a massive fan of Blue's Clues. It was really awesome seeing the characters Steve and Joe come back for this movie, as they did it all for the 30th anniversary that happened last year. The whole plot point with Josh wanting to become a Broadway star was really cool, and I feel that this was Blue's Clues No Way Home. It was really cool. I really enjoyed it. This is complete nostalgia bait for me. I don't think anyone else will have this movie on this list, but I really love this movie. Number 9 for me is going to be the newest thriller horror film that came out this year that is part of a franchise that's been made a long time ago, and it's called Prey, which is a continuation of the Predator series, a sort of prequel, if you will. The movie looked really stunning, and it was honestly probably one of the best stunning movies, like horror movies, that I've seen in a good while. It was really cool. And it makes me want to watch the first Predator movie, as a lot of people really do love that movie. And I've seen clips of it, and I've seen people talk about it, so I kind of get a gist of how I feel about it. So yeah, it was a really good movie. Number 8 on this list is going to be the newest Marvel film, the last film of Phase 4, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. This was a heart-wrenching film that paid tribute to Chadwick Boseman, the late Chadwick Boseman, who died 2 years ago. His death is very prominent in this film and is sort of the driving force for the characters as they go along. Basically, the whole story is revolved around Shuri and how she handles the death of her brother, how she grieves the death, and how she handles it as the story goes along. As we get to learn a lot more about her character, it's not very comedic as all of the MCU films this year have been, so that's major props. But I really love this film, and I think it was a somewhat okay conclusion to the very controversial Phase 4, and I'm just really excited for what happens in Phase 5. As we go up on the list, number 7 for me for the best movies of 2022 is going to be Bo Burnham's The Inside Outtakes. Last year, The Inside, his comedy special on Netflix, was in my top 10, and I adored it a lot. And nothing has changed, in my opinions, of these outtakes. You can, like, while it is, like, afterthoughts, you can tell that a lot of thought was put into those tracks and into the process of making those tracks. And I just thought it was really cool just getting another Bo Burnham themed special. It's just really cool seeing what was going on behind the scenes in a way. So yeah, that was really cool. For number 6, while we had some behind the scenes stuff about Bo Burnham in number 7, in number 6 we get some behind the scenes footage and a lot of stuff that we get to learn about a certain individual who has sort of made his mark on the world this year in a very impactful. I'm talking about Kanye West. Number 6 is the documentary that came out on Netflix back in, I believe, January, called Genius, a Kanye trilogy. And the documentary composed of 3 acts. Act 1 was basically talking about his beginning phase of like how he first started out. And in Act 2, basically he's talked about like when he was making the college dropout and graduation. And Act 3 was basically talking about the now of Kanye West and all the stuff that he went through, like from after The Life of Pablo and beyond. It is one of the best documentaries I've ever seen, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Kanye West fan. It was just really cool seeing his progression as an artist build up, and just seeing his accomplishments and everything was just so cool in Act 1 and Act 2. And seeing all the advice he got from people like Pharrell when he showed him Through the Wire, that was one of probably my favorite moments I've ever seen in film, because it's just so raw and it's so cool to see that there was so much footage that was taken during that time. I don't know, it felt like I was there, and it was just really cool. I really enjoyed it. Now we are in the top 5 for me, and starting off with number 5, we're going to go with Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie. I have not watched a lot of the TV show on Nickelodeon, but I have heard a lot of really, really good things about it. I just want to go in and see how this movie was going to be, because looking at the trailers, I was like, this looks really cool. And I was scared that I would not catch on a lot of things that was probably in the show. But knowing that like the show was canceled and that Netflix gave them the chance to at least do a movie in the way that they did it, I'm glad that they were able to do so, because the movie is amazing. The animation is godly. The story is overall just really, really decent, really good. The characters with interactions between the TMNT characters like Leonardo, Ralph, Donatello, and Mikey, and April, and Splinter, and Jason are really awesome. I really did find myself enjoying almost every single aspect of the film, and watching it on my wee little phone, I still had a good time with it. I might watch it on a big screen. My fourth favorite movie of this year is actually what I am wearing, Avatar: Way of Water. It doesn't have that on here, but yeah, I watched the movie while I was in Myrtle Beach with my sister. We watched it in 3D. And wait, I'll be right back. So I was gonna ask my sister if she wanted to do this section of the video with me about Avatar: Way of Water, but she said that she did not want to be on camera, but to say that she liked it when they killed people. They being the blue people. I really love this movie. I had saw the first movie recently because I had never seen it for the first time, and it was a really good experience. I get the hype, sort of, and I understand why James Cameron wants people to understand why he loves the world so much. The world building for Pandora is just amazing, and everything, it's just wow. And the same can be said for the second movie, as we go into the water and meet the sea people and everything. And it all looks so realistic, and watching it in 3D, minus the headache, it all looked really, really good. Once they got into that water, everything just, it went up from there. The movie is a spectacle, very beautiful, very gorgeous, and that the way that the world building just keeps expanding in Pandora as we go to the sea and meet all the sea people. It's all beautiful. The fight scenes are choreographed very well, and everything is just full of life in a way. So if I were to rank this on the Metal Status ranking, I would rank Avatar: The Way of Water on a Diamond Status ranking. Going into number 4. My fourth favorite movie of 2022 has to be Top Gun: Maverick. I love this movie. I had watched the first movie for the first time with my mom a couple of months ago, because we both really wanted to watch Top Gun: Maverick. And it was in theaters for a very long time, so you would think that we would be able to watch it in theaters, but we weren't able to really find a time, and I was in college a lot. But so instead we watched it at home on Paramount Plus, and despite it not being in theaters, the feeling was still there. It feels like a continuation of Maverick's story. While we have these new characters, we're not really focused on them enough, and while that can be seen as a downer, it's also really cool to just focus on the character from the previous film, as a lot of sequels really don't do that. I just like what they did with Maverick's character in this film, and with the new characters. There were good characters all around, despite not having a lot of time with them. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. The flight scenes were gorgeous. Most of them were actually in the air, so that's really cool. I understand the hype of the movie. One of the best sequels of all time. It was awesome. My second best film of 2022 is going to Nope. Nope is one of the most sort of thought-provoking movies that I've seen in not a good while, but this year. And seeing it in theaters was one of the most like pinnacle moments of the year. Seeing it in IMAX, as I'm a fan of Jordan Peele. I think that his work is very extraordinary. And I think that most of his movies, like as of now, are distinctively different than the other. So when I saw this movie, I knew automatically not to compare it to Get Out. They're both different movies tackling different subjects, and they do it in different ways and have like different antagonists. This one's sort of a man versus nature, while Get Out was more like man versus society. So I really enjoyed the themes that went out throughout this movie, like the themes of spectacle and how humans will do anything and everything to try to get it. And like, even if it risks their own lives, they don't care. They just want the spectacle. And it really focused on the Hollywood industry as a whole. I thought at first that the ending wasn't as good as it could have been, that there could have been an aftermath, but maybe as good as there wasn't an aftermath, as it kind of left like a little thought of, that's it. After all that they did, this is it. This is what we get. When most of the time, that's kind of what happens in the Hollywood industry. You do all of this stuff, all of this work, and all of this time that you put into something, just for it to be pushed away, or just to come out so quickly, and then you have to move on to the next thing. And I just think that that was an interesting thing to do with this movie. I don't know if that's what Jordan Peele was going for, but yeah, the movie's very intense. The movie's very like thriller-esque, and the house scene is still one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen. Yeah, I love this movie a lot. Yeah. And for my #1 movie of 2022, this is a sort of like last submission, kind of like what I did with Green Knight last year, where I watched it like close to the end of the year. This movie is Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I love this movie so much. I saw it yesterday, on the 29th of December, and I remember when the movie first came out, and it had so much hype built around it. Everyone was hyped about it. Everybody was singing its praises. Everybody was talking about how good the movie was and everything, and I'm just like, there's no way a movie can be this good. There's no way. For months, I just never got to it. I never got to watch it until now. As the year closes, I was like, if I were to watch a movie before this year ended, it would be this movie. And that's exactly what I did. And it's amazing. It lives up to the hype. Michelle Yeoh, Stephanie Sue, the guy from The Goonies, they all did an amazing job in this movie, and they all deserve the praise that they get. I have been a fan of Stephanie Sue ever since she was in Be More Chill, so the Broadway kid in me was glad to see her in this movie. A lot of like the issues that are tackled throughout this film are done in a wacky way, but also in a very kind-hearted way, in a very charming way. And towards the end, I kind of got teary-eyed a little bit. This is a movie that has a lot of care put into it. And the way that this movie handles the multiverse as a whole, this is not a spoiler, they talk about it in the trailers. It's one of the best depictions of the multiverse that I've ever seen. I wish that like something like that was tackled on in Multiverse of Madness, a movie that I despise from this year. This movie really did multiverse right, like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse did. I think those two movies do the multiverse very well, and they're the best depictions of the multiverse in all of cinema so far. I just really love this movie, and if you haven't seen this movie, you should definitely see it. going as blind as possible. I didn't really spoil too much with this movie, I hope. But watch the movie if you haven't. And with that, that is going to end my best top movies of 2022, and thus being the final video of the year. I did not make a lot of videos this year, and I know that, and I apologize. There was a lot of stuff that went on this year in terms of the beginning of the year with the house and everything, and IB, and doing my assignments and graduating, and then later on in the year with college and getting settled in and doing my semester and whatnot and everything. So I apologize for not really making a lot of videos that I wanted to, because I had a lot of other stuff that preoccupied me from doing so. And I can't really promise that next year will be different. I just hope that maybe you'll stay with me for the ride. While I didn't get to do a lot of stuff this year, one thing I did get to do was get to 100 subscribers. And that is one of the crowning moments of my year. It probably is the crowning moment of my year. I was so excited when I saw the 100 subscribers on YouTube. And I just want to thank all of you guys for getting me to that point. And I just hope that you'll stay with me, and that our channel will thrive, and that we'll get more moviegoers to come into this conversation of what they think their favorite movies are, what movies do they enjoy, what movies do they think are underrated and whatnot. And just, I want to build a very healthy community with this channel. And I feel that as we go on through the next couple of years, that will happen. And I do have a lot of stuff planned. Not saying that it'll happen expeditiously, but it will happen. And when it does happen, it'll be really cool, I can say. We'll see what happens. But once again, I just want to thank you guys for an amazing year. Despite the short video reviews and whatnot, it was an amazing year for this channel. We got 200 subscribers, something I didn't think we would see until next year, but it happened. So the sky's the limit, I think. We'll see. Until then, I hope you guys have a great day or night and a great rest of your year, and that you go into 2023 happy and healthy and ready to take on the world. Until then, this is the Movie Critic. And that's a wrap.